Well, that seems kind of fitting. Student driver. Not trying to say the traffic's getting worse around here, but one vacation and things have gotten... Oh boy. Well, I bet you I know what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to guess this Silverado they're working on was no longer transmitting. A lot was going on while I was away. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you're here. I'm Jimmy. We're making it work. Just back from vacation. I haven't been in the shop in 10 days because of Memorial Day and all that. But now we're back at it, making videos, fixing cars, buttoning up classics, just like it never ended. We're going to be rowing quite a bit today. We'll probably work on that 66 Impala, I'm sure. And we are going to see what we can do today. We'll see what else happens. I'm sure we'll be a little bit busier than the last week's videos I made. It's got a little bit of a busier vibe, a couple cars in the parking lot. So let's do our best to learn a thing or two, have some fun, get this shop open up and get started. Stay tuned. Run my thread cleaners through all these bolt holes and clean up my oil pan. Oil pan comes with these guides to help hold everything together while you work. It also comes with all new bolts because they're slightly, the gasket's a little thicker, so you gotta have longer bolts. That's an interesting place to park, don't you think? Anyway, let's start getting this thing back together. These are all 5/16 threads, so they go 2 front ones and 2 back ones. It's 3/16 for the rest of the bolts, the small one. I don't thread these in too far because sometimes they're a little hard to get out. So once I got, you know, 4 or 5 turns, that's it. It's got a screwdriver end to get them back out. All right, far from perfect, but I wire brushed all the really loose stuff and hit it with a spray can. We had a little bit of paint left in the spray can. Just wanted to make it look halfway decent. This back was all metal, so we just threw a little orange on there. It's not, we're not trying to compete with Chip Foose, you guys might know. It's already dry now, so I should be able to start putting it together. I got to set the gasket up. I got everything cleaned up real good, wire wheeled. Same thing on the block. Got my clip tools in, what do I call them, clipper doodles, something like that. I'm gonna put a dab of RTV in the corners at the timing cover and block, and at the corners where the gasket goes in the rear cap and block. Those 4 corners. Then I should be able to put the gasket on those retainers, put the pan in, push everything up. Should be good. It's supposed to be pretty easy. Let's see if this is hard while I was away. Nope. It works. Pretty generous dab. Ow. Don't hit your elbow on that. That's what it looks like. Should be pretty good. Same thing in the back. Let's start lifting this stuff back up in there. Sometimes these little tools help you. Sometimes they're a nuisance. You saw the video on this car last week. I torqued all the mains and the oil pump and everything last week. And I checked them again off camera just to feel better about it. Whole bunch more bolts. 8 foot-pounds on the little bolts and 18 foot-pounds on the 5/16 bolts. Alright, now the big bolts. I'm not sure if I should face this way a little bit more. This 5-blade screwdriver should take these out if my calculations are correct. I used to save these. When I got to where I had like 20 of them and realized they come with every oil pan gasket, I stopped saving them. When you're a mechanic, you kind of become a hoarder. You're like, I think I'll need this someday. But it's like saving those clutch pilot tools. The clutches mostly come with them. Or just buy one that you have for universal stuff instead of filling your box up with junk. At least that's how I look at it now. It's different than it was 20 years ago. I need space because there's so many freaking tools that we have to do our job. You need the space for tools rather than silly trinkets that you think you might need someday. Don't try this unless you're an expert. I'll put this in with the power tool. Not bragging about it, just coming clean about the whole situation. Don't recommend it if you're not an expert. You guys know I don't like to use power tools to start bolts, but I cleaned all the threads real nice, and I got enough experience I can see when the bolt's going straight and feel it. And I don't put it in with any kind of force till I know it's threaded in a few turns. I'll do it without the swivel. In the front, I don't think I have a lot of options. But you get much better torque accuracy without the swivel if you can. I thought I had smacked that up pretty good, I guess not. $18 foot-pounds. Quite a bit more than I think the factory bolts were. $8 foot-pounds on the little guys. Alright, everything's torqued. Time to set it back down the mounts. I could have done that earlier, but I think it's easier to get to the oil pan bolts with it below. Looks like the left side bolt is lining up first. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Now this bolt, like I mentioned when I took it apart, if you saw that video, it normally goes out towards the fuel pump, and you got to take the fuel pump off to do it. Me, I'd much rather take the starter bolts out and have the bolt come out backwards. So that's what we're doing. Same way it is on the other side. I don't know if I have the right size socket on here. Good guess. I did pre-fill the filter since we had this thing all apart. Take note that the cotter pin's left to right, so it's easier to find the hole. I'm going to reuse that cotter pin. If nothing else, it'll generate some comments. Starter back in. Long bolt and a short bolt. Self-explanatory, I think. This has to go up top a little bit. I don't know how that turned, but I can't turn it back. That's tough. What am I gonna do now? so much for being tricky and saving time. Alright, let me struggle off camera with that. We'll get it back together, no problem. 7/16 ain't that bad, mamma jamma. Is that a 1/2 inch? That's crazy. Huh. I would not have guessed that. I'm rusty from vacation, that's all. Now, I got my special flywheel tool. Should work on this one. I tried it on a car a month or so ago, it didn't work. But this is old school, so. And this one, since it doesn't have a center bolt on the balancer, it's a little more of a pain in the patootie to turn it up front. So I said, let me try it and see if it'll work on this one, knowing that the classics are a little more forgiving. You guys might know, I don't tighten them until I get all 3 of them in. GM's have 3. None of these have the lining up slot that the newer V8s have. These older ones, which are the ones I cut my teeth on, they didn't do things like that to make your job easier. They let you figure it out. But they were so simple, it wasn't a big deal. Didn't feel like it. That's why, I don't know, a few years ago when I started my channel, I was doing all 3 bolts before I tightened them, and someone's like, well, there's an alignment hole in there. I'm like, I know. You know, but when you're set in your ways and you do things a certain way for 40 years, sometimes you don't like to change the way you're doing it. I think that's a 9/16. Yep, we'll tighten those up, get that splash cover on. Got a lot of room in here for sockets, so we'll do a caveman style. It's kind of like Gangnam style, but not nearly as much fun. Don't even need my flywheel tool now. Look at that. One more. Oh, that family of sandhill cranes. There was a dead one out on the road this morning. It was the baby from the family. That's sad. They've been wandering around here for months, since that baby was born a few months ago. They must have went out on the road a little too far and someone didn't see it. I wasn't going to put that on camera. That's not. And those birds, when one of their family members dies, they'll stand there next to it, just howling. They get very attached, like a lot of animals. I'm going to check the one I tightened first, just in case. Alright. Now there's a shield on this side. I believe it's for the oil filter or something like that. For heat? I'm not sure. Oh, don't be like that. 4 bolts in that. Ready, check. Oh. Look at that, he's in the shop again. Kind of sad about the baby, but it's work to be done. Gotta focus on that. Not sure what this is even for. Some kind of heat shield, I guess. They overdid things back in the day. I think we are down to fuel pump and some coolant and oil. one of those applications where the carbon scraper, awesome. I put a little bit of wheel bearing grease on that push rod, but this engine must have some miles on it because it's still not gonna stay up. Normally it would hold it up for a second or two, and just enough time to get the fuel pump in place. See, the push rod's pretty worn out. Well, I shouldn't say worn out. It's showing signs of wear. I've got the gasket, put a little RTV just to kind of hold everything in place. So now I'm just going to hook this underneath the push rod and then lift it up to get the bolts started, which are right here. So we'll have everything ready to go and see how tricky we can be with this thing. It helps if you roll the engine around so that the cam is on the back of the lobe, so the lobe's further away, because it pushes and relaxes the pump. So you want it on the furthest one so you can get the pump the closest to get the bolt started. It's still not easy, but it is what it is. I'm gonna have to turn the motor a little bit to get it further away. I don't know if it'll turn by this. A little bit. Should be getting somewhere. I'm going to get something a little beefier to tighten them the rest of the way. Alright, I got to find some fuel hose, get the hard line in, replace the hose going up to there, get some oil in it. W30 dinosaur blood. I wouldn't use full synthetic if this was a fresh engine build, simply based on the engine I put in my 62. They said if you use synthetic oil, it avoids their warranty because the rings won't seat apparently. But this engine is well seasoned. About 20 minutes on the freeing of this fitting, heating and putting some deep creep and heating it again. You can see the rust coming out on the bottom, but I think we saved it. Not too good, but we got it. Just you know, hot rod stuff. Another 20 minutes I'll never get back, but I feel pretty good about not having to make the whole line. All right, I had to find an adapter pipe thread to 5/16 in my toolbox because we had to adapto pump. Not sure why, but it had adapters on the other pump. In any event, now I'm changing the hoses. I got a new piece of hose on here. I'll replace those clamps and get this hose off. Hopefully it won't make too much of a mess. We'll see. Somehow I expected gas to come out of that, but okay. That's fine. Hope there isn't a problem with a fuel pickup or something like that. The other hose is on there about 2 inches. 1 inch ought to do it. Alright. Coolant's in. Oil's in. Fuel pump's in. Rear main seal's in. Got about, probably spent an hour just fixing the fuel line and getting these new fuel lines from up in the, we had to go up in the attic to get them. But we had some 5/16, so that was cool. Painted the oil pan for him, you saw that. That's all nice. All ready to fire this thing up. Check the oil level, put the dipstick back in. Remember, if you saw last week's video, I used the dipstick to try to break the seal loose from the block. And it worked kind of. I think it helped because I was finally able to get it to move by running that dipstick through a little bit on both sides. I couldn't get it all the way through on the back, but I did on the front. I think I showed that in the video. Anyway, let's fire this thing up. Make sure nothing in the fan here. My fender cover's kind of clipped and magnetized and all. Battery's hooked up. Let's do it. It's kind of good that it did that. Built up oil pressure before it fired up. Let this thing run a little while, check it for leaks. Then I'll let it cool down, recheck the coolant level. These cars are pretty forgiving with that stuff though. We'll take it for a nice drive. And I think I got another ticket. A modern vehicle, like a 2017 Chevy Traverse or something. I see a lot of those lately. All right, it's looking good. That little bit of antifreeze. This one I had the lower hose. I was trying to put it on. Not really the right size hose either, but when the coolant drips out of it while you're working on it, it runs down the tranny cooler lines. I was like, I thought it was oil at first, but just coolant running down the lines. I'll have to clean that up. This thing should be good to go. Well, it's still a Chevy, but at least it's from this century. That's pretty cool. 2017 Chevrolet Traverse. Customer states my backup camera don't work and my right front window doesn't work. So let's try the window first. Let's see if it works from this one. Oh yeah. It's weird that I can hear it click, but it doesn't do anything from this switch. From that switch it works. So it probably has a problem with the switch, but we'll have to test that out. We'll pull this out of the door, see if it's sending out voltage. What these do is it has two wires to the motor. In one direction, up, it'll be power on one and ground on the other. And then for down, it switches them. Power on the other and ground on the other. So it uses the same two wires and just switches polarity based on where you push the switch. Pretty simple system, really. A lot of people get messed up because when a wire breaks or something, they'll sell a switch, but it won't fix it. But normally with a broken wire, for some reason, I see a lot of vehicles that'll work one direction, not the other. It'll go down and not up, that kind of thing. Let's see the backup camera. Yeah, the backup camera works. It's just got a dirty lens. Let's go back there. Give her a wipe. Let's see. Oh, it got a little better. So basically the lens is clouded, so it needs a camera. I only got 57,322 miles. Load rating of 5. 8 years old, about average. So let's get a wiring diagram. Get the switch out of here. See if it's sending power and ground out there. I made a cool printout. I found out something interesting, which is why you always check this kind of thing. This uses a logic module in the driver's window switch. So when you push the button, the switch, it makes contact in here and tells the logic module what you're asking for. And then in the computer data lines, the BCM or door module will work the window motor. But the right side switch has a logic module as well, but it says up control, down control coming directly out of the module. On this one, it doesn't have an up or down control. It just has serial data and network bus. So it tells me there's probably something going on with the switch, because if the logic module gets the signal, it would work just the same as it does from the right side switch. I'm going to bring the scan tool up here and we're going to see if it sees the command. Sometimes you can just play with these and get them to work. Oh. Ta-da! Yeah, if you monkey around with the switch, like the guy on the front page of this scan tool, it works. That's easy. Needs a switch, which is called a master switch or driver's door master switch, and needs a camera. Checked all the fluids. The wipers are kind of sketchy. Brake fluid's a little sketchy, but got good tires. The brakes are about 6 millimeters, so they're not halfway yet, or about halfway. What do you think? I'm wasting time now because I already know that it needs a switch, but I was going to bring up the data and show you how when I play with this, all of a sudden you'll see it get the request for the window and it'll move. So I don't want to waste too much more time on it. I got to try to make up some time because that Impala hot rod deal. We got to do something about that too. It's costing my family too much time and money. Costing me time, my family money. So we gotta do things a little differently, it seems. This Toyota RAV4 customer says she went through a puddle and the engine stalled and won't start. That is not good, but we're gonna take a look. I think it's a 2013. It's in pretty decent shape. A little bit of clutter here and there, about a 5. Let's get under that hood. The first thing I do if someone says they went through a puddle and the engine doesn't crank, first thing I do is look at the air filter. If the air filter is wet with water, that means the engine is. At that point, you see if they want to pull the spark plugs out, and you can pull the plugs out and try to get it to crank. Sometimes you can pump the water out of the cylinders and then put the plugs back in. It'll fire right up and run fine. Sometimes the rods are all bent and the engine's done. So you never know until you start doing your investigation. That is a wet air filter. So let's get some spark plug sockets, pull a spark plug out of it. We could pull all 4 out and see if it'll crank, and it probably will shoot some water out. See if there's water in the crankcase. It's a little over full, but it doesn't look like there's water in it. All right. 10 millimeter and a spark plug socket. I know you want to break a little Toyota connector. Not gonna happen. Not on my watch. Actually, they break when they want, no matter how careful you are. These Toyota coil connectors. These aren't as bad as the older ones, but 2013 is right around when they weren't quite as bad as they had been earlier. Uh-oh. It smells, why does that smell burned? Coolant, I mean, water should cool it off, not heat it up. Uh-oh. That's water on the spark plug. If she's really lucky and the engine was going slow, it might be okay. Let's crank it over. We'll probably get some water out of here. Well, that's a bummer. It's gonna have a bent rod in that cylinder. It won't crank without the spark plugs in it. That means a rod bent, and that's what shut the engine off. Sometimes if they're going real slow RPM, it'll just fill the cylinder and stall. It's pretty rare though. It's a 1 out of 20. The engine's not hurt. So, needs an engine. Quick and easy. Fast and furious Honda Acura dealio. Covers the Torx. 2 Torx in there. I pulled that cover off. I got a window switch. Nice and easy. I don't know who makes it. Dorman. Nothing but the best. It's like I never skipped a beat, man, going on vacation. Right back where we started. Even looks like the right one. You gotta take the door panel off to do it. You would think this would pop out or something. Nope. It snaps in from underneath. But I don't think the door panel's too hard to get off. It only pays an hour. So it must be pretty easy, right? I think this goes over that, so you don't have to take that off. Should be 3 screws and some clips around the outer perimeter. What the heck happened? The drive shaft broke?
So the center broke.
That's a different one though, right?
Yeah.
You've done a bunch of Chrysler drive shafts.
Yeah.
You're like the Chrysler drive shaft master. There's a Karate Kid and there's the drive shaft kid.
I just got some badass ball bearings though.
Hell yeah. That looks like it wants to fall into the door if you drop it. That would be terrible. Terrible. What's the word? Terrible. Now, that should be good. I'll try to start from underneath. Yeah.
Customers.
A couple of tabs you gotta pull to the side so that you can push this out. And there's some from the inside. Come on, man. What are you doing? They usually, seriously, they usually just go pink, pop right out. That's alright, we'll get it. Because I don't give up easy. Oh, went back in. That's not the way I wanted it to go. Something's happening. Don't worry, I'm going to shorten this down quite a bit. It'll look like I did it really quick. Oh my goodness gracious. Came on 2 pieces. That's alright. We'll put the new one in one piece. For anyone who's curious, this is what it looks like inside. These are little buttons. These contacts, they send a different amount of resistance for each thing that you press. And there's something going on here. In any event, now you know. Let's get the new one. These little tabs. Apparently what the problem was, I wasn't pushing them far enough because they want to break anything. Apparently you got to push it right till it's about to break. And then you're done. Alright. The door handle cable, you release these 2 tabs, pull it backwards, and then you can pivot it and pull it out of the little catch here. Let's get this thing back together. You got to hook it over this rubber edge without getting the push pins into their slots yet, because then it won't line up. And what, they go in way easier than they come out. You ever played Doctor when you were a kid? That little board game? You touch the sides and it goes, eh. That's what it's like putting those bolts in. Just snaps in place. Flat side to the top. Now we get to see how it works. Should have probably tried that first. On to the next one. I think I got a hub bearing on a Dodge Dart. 2017 Dodge Dart. It is not seeing much love. It's low on coolant. Someone just put a salvage yard compressor on it. It's got some coolant over here, but it does have a new upper hose, so that might have just been done, or the clamp was changed, the radiator or something, I don't know. Hard to figure it out. It is a manual transmission, so you know it's high performance. Got the mandatory 3 pedals for high performance status. She's rough. You would never know it was a 2017, let's put it that way. It's gonna get a 3. Probably should be even lower, but there's no food. It's just dirty. So I'm not gonna, you know, people are busy. Can't be too hard on them. So the plan is to do a leak check, 15-minute vacuum, blow refrigerant in it for them, and do the left front hub bearing. We got 2 hours. It shouldn't be a problem. This machine will probably take almost that long. The hub bearing I can do quicker than the evac and recharge. It's kind of silly, but it is what it is. I'm going to top up his coolant for him too. They didn't ask about it, but why does that not look like it's latched? Anyway, Let's get it up in the air while this is doing its dirty deed. Get that wheel off. Oh yeah. It's taking a few curbs in its life. What are you gonna do? Let's fix it. That is a crack. That thing's gotta be leaking air. He didn't mention it. ABS lights on and stuff, but probably because of the hub bearing. I think those are 19s. They used to be 19s. Went over to my toolbox and got my mid-size. Even that doesn't fit great, but it fits better. You know what else I have? A 20 millimeter socket, baby. Grain Pneumatic includes that in the set. I've heard some tool truck brands don't give you a 20. You gotta buy it separately. Oh, German style studs. Well. What that did was the 20 jams on the corners because it's a little too big, so it's really hard to get it off. So what I probably got to do is I'll break them loose with the 20, get my socket off of there, and then spin them out with the 19.5. Always make sure you got lots of threads in the hub before you do that. They said, can you get that done tonight? I said, if it's a bolt-in hub. They said, yes it is. So we're gonna find out right now if it is. Looks like an Allen. Looks like a 16. Oh, you know what? Got it off though. Let's try it on the other one. See how tight it is. Uh-oh. No, I don't want to go all the way in my toolbox. So I'm going to keep going. Wow. It's perfect. I am going to get a hook for this caliper. Man, you're not going to have that in your box if that gets lost. It is a bolt-in hub. That's cool. Kind of strange the nut is past the notch. Let's grab a socket. I think that's going to be like a 34 or so, 33. After you've been away a while, everything looks smaller. It's a 36. Which is crazy. Man, I would have bet a wasp was biting me right there. What the heck is that? Torques, bolts. What the heck is going on? I keep feeling bites. Torques, bolts. 4 of them. It's gotta be a splinter in my freaking sock. It keeps stabbing me every once in a while. Very weird. Unless it's a warning from another dimension. I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna flip you over and edit it so it looks really smooth and silky. Think about that. Yeah. We're taking this channel to whole new heights. So if some of you up in Erico territory are going to be kind of sad, because I already see a gap there. I don't think I'll need a hammer. I probably shouldn't have bragged, but I can brag all I want. How do you like that? That's easy. Quick hour.
Toughen up, buttercup.
They're worried if I get it done, but I don't think the parts are here yet. Look at that son of a gun. Sweet. This one's satin black, man. Right there is good for 20-30 horsepower. The bolts that are closer together are in the back. Really hard on your electric ratchet when you do that. But don't worry, it's a Milwaukee, it can handle it. I know some of you guys won't love that, some of you guys will. Yeah, look up the torque specs. It's probably about 65, I would guess. 70 foot-pounds. That was pretty close. That's probably at about 60 foot-pounds. Axle nuts 148. And let me get the rotor and our brakes back on. I'll just snug it up for now. That's lined up, but that doesn't mean it's right because we got new hub bearings, so we'll see. My trusty screwdriver has got to go this way. Just tight, righty-tighty. Almost perfect. I could have left it. It would have been fine. Pretty good shoulder on the hub. Otherwise, I'd have got my European wheel studs. Some of the big Mercedes and BMWs, man, those wheels are heavy. These aren't so heavy. I wouldn't have tried it otherwise. Probably should have though, because I can't find the hole. See what I mean? It's easy, man. Don't worry about it. I could have done that the easy way. That would be boring. But we're going to reach the level of Hoovie's garage on this channel. We got to have one catastrophe after another. If there's anything I learned watching his channel, people love catastrophes, and when you spend lots of money on stupid stuff that you shouldn't have, and then you can't fix it. You take it to the car wizard and he can't fix it either. But you end the video on a plus and you say it's fixed. But you never see him driving them. Just saying. Just saying. Loving this light, by the way. I use it a lot. I like this light if I gotta light up an area and set the light somewhere. This light I don't like to set it down because it's too small. Forget it. So I use it, put it back in my pocket or back on this hook. That's how I do it. You guys let me know what you think. If you have a small light like that, a pocket light, you wouldn't want to set it down to look at something you're working on. At least they're expensive. So the machine's finally done. That's what I was getting to. Was this test performed? Yep. Was it free of leaks? Oh yeah. Does it have an auxiliary evaporator? Nope. You might tell me to start it up. And we'll see what the pressures look like. See if their salvage yard compressor works. I hope they put oil in it. or at least didn't spill out the oil that was in the compressor. We're gonna let this finish up. We're gonna hop in the car, see if the AC works. Uh-oh. I don't see the pressure changing out there. That's a bummer. Now's the diagnosis part. If it was a R134, I'd have blown some refrigerant and see if it worked. The customer said, yeah, I did. I put a compressor on. I just want you to charge it up. Okay. So, but it could have had a blown clutch that took the fuse out. So we'll look for the fuse real quick. See if that's good. Well, I do not like the look of that connector down there. Let's shut it off, lift it up. Let's take a closer look at that connector. There's no blown fuses. I just checked them all instead of going to look it up because they don't tell you which one's which. Huh. Connector's busted up pretty good, but it was connected. Aha. It goes in further the other way. Now I don't see the orange as much. And there's a little bar at the top and there's a little catch on the top of the compressor side, so maybe it'll work that way. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna fire it up. You listen for the clutch and see if you hear it engage, and then we'll see what happens with the pressures. I still don't think it's working. That's a bummer. Let me get let's get a lot of light on this deal. I can make it brighter. Bump. Compressor clutch, I didn't look very closely at it earlier. I probably should have, but it's fried. See how it's burnt up? And the plastic is melted at the hub. So I could see the bolts were messed with, and someone had put a compressor in, it looked like. It's a junkyard one. So it looks like you put a bad compressor in. So the compressor's gonna be no good. Let me go let them know. I might as well pull the refrigerant back out. Normally you can't get clutches separately nowadays, but you never know, so I'll ask him before I pull the refrigerant back out. Hub bearing's done, that's cool. All right, we pulled the refrigerant back out. He's actually pretty happy. I thought he might be upset, but he wanted it charged up. It didn't work. It needs a compressor, or at least a clutch. They said the clutch isn't available separately. We're gonna have to recommend a condenser because with that clutch being melted, that probably means it was trying really hard to turn it and the clutch got hot. That usually means there's a restriction. He's gonna give an estimate for that stuff. I pulled the refrigerant back out. He was really happy. He's like, oh, you don't have to charge me for the refrigerant? That stuff's expensive. So anyway, he's from out of town too. He's staying at a hotel. So we'll see if we get to put a compressor and condenser in this tomorrow. All right guys, the customer at the Dart approved the compressor and condenser. So tomorrow we're gonna be doing this AC repair. Parts are supposed to be here about 10 in the morning, so I should be able to have it all stripped down by then, so I didn't start on it today. Being lazy. I got the vacation fog in my head. I just feel a little foggy, like I don't know if I'm getting a head cold or something. Pushing through. We'll be all right. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Maybe you'll torque the like button before you head out, and tune in tomorrow. We'll finish this Dart up, get it working. It's been a pleasure having you. Glad to be back from vacation. Keep rowing, keep making it work. Hope I see you in another video, because you're awesome.